Yeah, I'm still in Vancouver. I'm going back to Japan in a couple of days. I've been on the road for a couple of months. Kemble and I, this is the first direct recording we're getting a chance to do over the last few months. And what I've learned on this trip, since Campbell asked me to lead off on this particular video, is how I was still missing the potential for all the love I would like to live by how inside I was not fully loving to the people around me, to myself, to the world in general. And basically, what I have learned is you can't get what you don't have, and you can't give what you don't already possess, so to speak. So that's why I felt like calling this one the true cost of love. And I don't mean taking someone out for a fancy meal or buying a bottle of wine or dressing up, for the opposite sex or getting later in any of this. For me, what I found the true cost of love is giving up everything inside of you that's not love. That's what you have to pay with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, we're going crazy. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, taking it higher, baby.
I mean, when you think about it, judgment, judging people and circumstance and all this and having to be right, that blocks, clearly, right? Blocks love. It's not love. It blocks you giving and receiving, which is, I think, a big part. We talk a lot about being love and giving love and all this kind of stuff, but what about yourself? We tend to forget that, right? A lot of people need to love themselves more, and just by doing that, you then, by default, give it out more, right? So it's like everything, it's all ultimately got to start from within. Because I think a lot of, the new age people, they love to say, just be love, just give love. And I think when that's the message, people can expect to receive something back for that. And in this world, you don't always get that. And if you don't love yourself, then it's hard to keep going down that path, isn't it? So yeah, the way out is in. Start with yourself.
I mean, you have to understand what love is for you as well. Because if you want to equate it to money, if the new age people say just give away $50 and you'll be happy, if you don't have $50, you can't give away $50. So first you have to acquire somehow the $50. So it's true that if you give love, you'll get love. But what most people feel is love, perhaps, is only partly love. It may be attached with need. It may be attached with guilt. It may be attached with belief. It probably is attached with past experiences of how your parents loved you or didn't, how you loved other people in relationships, even how you loved your pets or you didn't. And so when you're saying, I don't understand why, I'm just giving all this love, I'm just giving all this beauty, I'm just giving all this wonder. So why is my life not happy? And you can fill in for yourself why your life is not happy. I mean, I've been saying that and I've been looking at it for years. And I was talking with Campbell even before we got on that, I still judge people and I was still in a place of knowing better. And, I was still in a place of feeling that, I had the best to give people and I didn't understand why the best wasn't coming back to me. And I really had to see in a hard way, what the cost was. And the cost was how, over the years, I picked up my own bad habits, my own judgments, my own ways of seeing things, which I thought were love, but really was not love, and love isn't always a candy coated, heart for Valentine's Day or a bunch of roses, for your sweetie. To be honest, I found real love is the hard payments you have to make on how you've been wrong. Campbell and I have talked about that a lot. And let's say how you've been wrong in relation to with what you are now finding when you get older or you get wiser or all of the above, what love really is, and a good thing to start with perhaps is to find for yourself what a definition of love is. And if it's what you want, which a lot of people say, I want a relationship, I want to be loved, I want my kids to like me, I want nice, sweet, beautiful times with my friends or my partner or my wife or my husband. And if that's not happening, maybe there's a good reason. And as Campbell said, that reason is probably you.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're all, we learn 80% of everything we'll ever know in the first 5 years. So that's where we learn what what our perception of love is, right? And for a lot of people, especially growing up in our generation when parents worked, it becomes physical things, right? And that's what we sort of start to associate love with. And that's why we have all these addictions, right? Like people addicted to food, say, that's because, you know, the only time they felt loved was when their parents cooked for them and they sat down and ate. So they're chasing this thing. But again, that when you go from the external, from the out to the in, it doesn't work. You're never fixing that issue or working through it. You've really got to go inside and work out, like Lorenzo said, what is love? You know, how do you perceive it now, and is that even valid? And the other thing is, other people, like, they're not going to give you necessarily what you want or expect, right? They're going to give you their version of love. And so that's why you can't sort of judge this whole, you know, construct as, well, it's not giving me what I want, because as we've learned, as you know, Lorenzo and I have personally learned, you know, sometimes you don't know what you need, right? But bigger powers do. So I think you always get what you desire, what you really desire for change. You know, might be uncomfortable, but yeah, when you judge people and, oh my God, they didn't do this, you know, he didn't buy me flowers, or she didn't, you know, whatever, cook me dinner, and you've got all these, you know, constraints and all these rules around what love is, then I mean, the only thing that happens then is people break the rules, and people think, oh my God, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and then you're in somewhere that's completely not love. So what is love? I think it's just mainly it's giving and receiving, right, and allowing that to happen without judgment. You know, getting the flow. So, and this is the biggest issue, you know, that, you know, I think we both find when we talk to people is it's all these things that we hold on to from the past, all these expectations, and, you know, and that's what ultimately why people aren't happy, because life hasn't turned out the way they expected it or wanted it to, right? That they're not where they want to be because they have all these expectations. And sometimes, you know, obviously that's us, you know, holding ourselves back, but sometimes, you know, maybe those expectations of what we want aren't really that good for us, and we don't really want. So that's why we're not creating them.
The hardest thing I had to face in this trip ended up being the best things for me. You know, facing people that I had challenges with, or facing circumstances I had challenges with, you know, having to live in another person's house, going on 2 months now, you know, other than the odd hotel room when I was alone with my wife, I've been in someone else's house. So I've been a guest. So I've been at their mercy, so to speak, for their time, their food, their desires, their noise level, my noise level, you know, how I can do my work even. You know, I have to get on at a certain time. I can't get up as early as I want because I'll wake people up. So I've had to give a respect that I was forced on for the last couple of months, which allowed me to see, you know, how I wasn't really loving in my life. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm here and I can't work, or oh my goodness, I want to eat at 5 and the kitchen's busy and I have to wait till 5:30, or I want to go into town, but they're not driving me into town because I don't have a car because I'm in a strange part of the world and there's no way to walk to what I need to get. And so I had to allow the world to do what it needed to do around me, and not to just accept it because, you know, you have no choice but to accept some of the hard things in front of you, but to love those challenges, to understand that, you know, things aren't always going to go how you like, and it doesn't matter. You know, you can love speaking a bit later. You can love, you know, the last conversation I did with Campbell, I did, you know, 8 o'clock my night, and I hate talking at night, right? I'm an early riser. I need to talk in the morning. You know, that's when I do my best work, but it didn't matter. That's how it worked out for everyone. And it allowed me to see from another's perspective how maybe I forced people, you know, to do something they didn't want to do because it was best for me. That, you know, that's how I'm putting this. And that's not love, right? It's like, it really is more of a selfish desire to see how the world works. As Campbell just said, you know, having these expectations and having these desires and having, you know, maybe there's a big difference between doing love and being loved. That's what I'm starting to see, because most people want to do love. I want to, you know, you want to do someone if you're being rude, you want to do a dinner, you want to do a date, you know, you want to do you know, a task, or a way to have, or do a holiday, instead of, if you're being love, then you're just being love.
Mm.
And whatever happens around that is kind of irrelevant if it's real love.
Mm.
Or unconditional, as Campbell said, would be another way to look at that.
We're human beings, right? Not human doings. Got to be what we want to experience, what we want to create. You've got to be it. You know, like it's like this, you know, if you want something, you're not going to get it, right? Because when you want something, you don't have it. You've got to be what you want. You've got to encapsulate it and live it as it was true before it happens, and then it'll show up. You know, what did Wayne Dyer say? You'll see it when you believe it, but most people say, I'll believe it when I see it. So everything's inverted and reversed, right? But
Yeah.
this is the thing. It's all a journey, right? It's all for us, you know. And you know, you've obviously had some mirrors thrown up at you there, Lorenzo. So I mean, but this is the thing. You know, a lot of the time, if we judge that, like, you know, you could have got angry and gone, oh, you know, this sucks, I don't like this, and you know, thrown your hands up and you know, packed up and taken off, and then you know, as you know, a lot of good stuff came out of what you know, what you experienced and where you went and where you hung out and the people you met might not have been comfortable, but change isn't comfortable because it's something new that we haven't done before. So you know, this is for everyone. If you're in these situations, like, you know, don't judge them so much and don't, you know, react, right? Have, you know, take a bit of a few minutes or seconds and calm and just act. You know, people are like they are because they are like they are, right? They're that way because of their life and what they've done and their experiences. They're not, you know, most people aren't out to ruin your day and to piss you off. They're that way because that they've grown into that person. And most of the time it comes from lack of love. You know, so what the thing that would fix them most is love, right? If we're all energy, you know, you think of it, they're just, you know, full, right? They're amped up on negative energy and they just need that balance, right? Of some of the positive, and I'll come back into balance. So, you know, we've got to, you know, it all comes back to the basics, really, right? Treat others as you wish to be treated. No one wants to be told they're wrong. No one wants to be laughed at. No one wants to be ignored. No one wants to, you know, everyone, you know, to people, what they're talking about is important to them, you know, and sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen, you know, even if, you know, and if it takes 10 or 15 minutes of your life and it's going to, you know, make them happy, well, that I think is being love, right? Putting other people's needs above your own, which is something we could all do a bit more, I think.
And it's kind of what I mean by cost, right? If you're going to buy something, it can hurt, right? If you got to spend $1,000 or $3,000 or even $50 if you only have $60. So it costs if you need to get dinner or if you need to buy some repairs for your car, and it's, you know, cost you $800 that you don't want to spend, but you have to because, you know, you're getting something in return. And it's also what Campbell and I talked about, like no matter what situation you're in, whether it's a bad relationship or a bad job or a bad moment or a bad house or with some bad friends. And by bad, I'm basically means something you don't like. Perhaps it's time to look around and see what it's going to cost you. Maybe it'll cost you some patience. Maybe if you're not going to eat when you want, it'll cost you being hungry, right? Maybe if you don't like where you are, it'll cost you moving away, or it'll cost you leaving that person if you're not in a good relationship, or it'll cost you what you always wanted to see your children grow up to. So let's say you wanted your children to be doctors or lawyers or what have you, and they turn out to be rock musicians and you know, gardeners, and you don't like it, but the cost of love in that moment is your old beliefs about what they should be like. So probably if you give them that cost, you're going to get more love, right? If you accept your children for who they are in that moment, probably. So the cost is your belief in what they should be doing. Maybe it's a hard cost. Maybe you wanted them to be doctors for 35 years, right? And maybe your parents wanted you to be a doctor and you didn't become a doctor. So you passed that stress along to your children, you know, because you thought that was the best for them. And so then you have multi-generational stress, which a lot of people do have. They've learned it from their parents. So maybe you have to pay the cost of your parents and grandparents and your great-grandparents. So let's say you have to pay that multi-generational cost of expectations for someone. So that's the cost. It's a hard cost. It's a heavy cost. Sometimes it's a bloody cost. But think of what's going to come back. Right? You'll get the love of your children, let's say in this example, forever. Maybe even more than you could have imagined. And if they have children, they'll love you more. And maybe your grandchildren will love you more, or your friends. So, you know, so it's really, it is a cost. And a cost, as you understand cost, or as I do as well, can be painful. It feels like you're giving up something because you're giving up something. So whether it's money or comfort or hunger or the desire to not be hungry, let's say, if you are giving up, let's say, eating later than you want to, or what you feel some people should or shouldn't do, then that's the cost, the true cost of love. And it's a beautiful thing. If you look at it that way, not what they're going to give you, but what do you need to give them? And then that can allow love to blossom. And my experience has been, it usually is the case. If you give people that love or space, eventually, it will almost guarantee to come back to you.
Mm. Yeah, just not the way that we ever think it will, right? This is the thing, like all these expectations, like nothing ever works out the way you think it will, ever. It never has, it never will, right? We've never, it's
Nothing.
never happened in the, history of, beings that someone's had at least in this realm, that someone's had a thought and that exact thing has happened. I mean, we hear of premonitions maybe, but this is the thing, when we have all these expectations and it must be this way and we go and we act in that way, it normally goes bad, right? So I think a big thing is, we need to look at our results. People don't like to look at their results. If you're somewhere that you don't, that you're not enjoying at the moment, we've said it before, we'll say it again, it's your fault. You put yourself there through all your actions, reactions, thoughts, decisions, judgments, all this kind of stuff. That's put you where you are and given you perspective. But the good news about that is you can change that. You can realize and go, oh crap. Like Lorenzo said at the start, how are you the asshole? How are you doing the wrong thing? How are you making other people trapped? We hear a lot about this freedom. I want to be free. I'm waking people up. But most of the time when I see people, waking people up, they're just telling them that they have to think the same thoughts as they do, or else they're wrong. That's not, when you're free, if you want to be free, you have to let everyone be free. And that's the hardest thing for most people, right? They want to be I'm right and they're wrong. And that's not true, because there is no right and wrong in the bigger picture. It's just all experience, right? Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And we're all just here to learn and to grow, really. So all these judgments and all these ways of thinking, they just slow us down. And in the end, they give us a bad experience of life. It's not fun when you're walking around in a world and everyone's wrong and everyone's the problem. And oh my God, how do they do that? And they're so loud and they're doing this. And poor little me. I mean, and I'm not saying everyone, most people watching this won't be down there, but we're going to be there to some degree, right? Like whatever it is, those bloody whatevers, right? Politicians, bloody, it's their fault, or the money system, or but is it? I mean, we've created this so we can create our way out of it. So I think, yeah, when we're coming to 2023, we're coming up to the holiday season, and as we started, it's all about learning to love yourself more. It is, I think, what 2023 or 2024 is going to be about. To get back in touch with ourselves. There's been lots of talk about it. So let's start doing it. And again, to do that, it's you go inside and talk to yourself. What is love to you? And really, it's just acceptance, right? Non-judgment, and just live that. Try and be into it. And if you need help, there is help. We actually have some products. We'll leave the link below to Flor Alive, and it can kickstart your journey and aid in healing all these blockages that make us think love has to be a certain thing or a certain way. They're just energy blockages, really. And in the end, it's just everyone looking for love, isn't it? So check out the link below, and let's all learn to love ourselves a bit more.
It's an interesting thing that now that Campbell brought it up, and I had a chat with this about with my wife yesterday, and she said, both of our mothers, mine and hers, have had a hard time. They're physically, decrepit at the moment. Their life really is not going so happy, or so it seems to us. And we had wondered what it could have been like if 10 years ago they'd had a chance to have an experience with, let's say, these flowers. I mean, nobody is angry at flowers. That's why I feel that these tonics or these flower essences could work. There's nobody that says, I hate flowers. I've never seen anyone ever that doesn't like a flower. But what is really hard, and something that came across my consciousness in this last couple of years, is maybe most people hate other people telling them what to do. Campbell has mentioned that many times over the last videos. He hated being told what to do. I hate being told what to do. Perhaps everyone's that way. Perhaps people have spent their whole life from little to old, especially with schooling, being told what to do. So you get to a certain age and you're going, that's it. I have had it up to here. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. I mean, but with that, you also miss good advice. Someone could tell you, be kinder, be more giving, be more caring, but maybe you're blocked, as I've been. I'm only going to talk about myself quite a bit. And some of these essences have helped me, because maybe if the flowers are giving you some advice of what you could do, maybe we have given ourselves permission to get advice from certain things, beings, ways of being alive, and not given ourselves permission from other ways. So if we're having trouble, which is why I'm starting to feel that these essences work. So if you don't want to listen to other people, and most people really have a hard time doing that, no doubt. Campbell and I have done our events and we talked to many people, and it really is a block. Even I come up to, and most people come up to. Very few people can go, oh, you told me I'm an asshole that way, or I'm shitty this way. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. I'm so, almost nobody takes it that way right away unless they're a higher master. Usually there's some fighting going on, even if they're right, because nobody wants to lose face or have someone tell them what to do. So a side way or a sideways or a back ways of this maybe helping to change could be for you, as it's been for us in some ways, the flower essences. It doesn't have to be. It could be the wind, could be a dog. Maybe that's why people like dogs. It could be a poem, could be a song, could be a movie. But the bottom line, of course, is you have to make the change. But if you get an idea on how to make the change, as Campbell said, you have to be the change, but maybe we don't know how to be the change. Maybe we know we need to change, but we're not sure what to do. I've been there. So if you get a clue and you know what to do, and you get maybe a bit of a direction, maybe you can take it from there and make yourself, better by your own two hands or your own actions, by having a new map or a new way you can go. And maybe the flowers can help you with that, as they've helped us. And who knows what else might be able to give you a bit of a clue for the cost of love for yourself.
Yeah. And I see all these types of products. There's a few out there, like people call them, 5D, whatever you want to call them. All these sort of new world kind of products, right? They're not from the pharmacia. They're not, these synthesized things. They're vibration, right? Their energy, their frequency, which is what we talk so much about. And one thing I've been noticing is, it's flowers. Flowers look a lot like snowflakes and cymatics and star forts, right? It's all the same stuff, right? There's something going on there. So,
Right.
and I've found some stuff on DNA, which is very similar as well. So there's all these links. But I was just going to say, we didn't put ourselves, we hear it all the time. So I didn't put myself here in the system, bloody programmed me and all that. Yeah, sure, but here's a way to do it, to unprogram it, right? That you don't have to do that much, 5 drops a day or whatever it is, and see how it goes. And a lot of these things that they're so much cheaper than the alternative methods, than pharmaceuticals, or going to talk to a therapist. We know what that word breaks down to. Nature, right? Get back to nature. Bring out the flower within. So we've both tried this, and we're going to actually be trying some other products, and we're going to do sort of a few for a couple of months and keep you guys updated on what's going on with us, just to prove it, because we've both had good results. With dreams, definitely. I've had the dreams one, and I'm on the health one, but I'm going to up that dosage a bit, because I've had a talk with Brent and I need to put it up. So yeah, guys, this is something that we've been looking for, products, because obviously we need to live. And this is something we've both tried, we both, believe and want to get behind. So check out the link below. There's a whole website. You can read up on what it is. There's videos, testimonials, all this kind of stuff. So have a look at the link below.
I mean, imagine this. I heard just yesterday or the day before, our noses can differentiate between 100,000 different odors. Like, we are supposedly capable of differentiating, and most people differentiate 100 or 200. Let's say you do 1,000. You're a genius with smell. So you're literally missing 99%. And for me, when I see an odor or a smell, it gives me a feeling, it gives me a memory, it gives me an action. It's not just, you're getting a smell. It literally gives you, it's a coded way of understanding how you can act. It bypasses your thought system. That's why if you smell, let's say, bread, it brings you back to when your mom made you bread, or you smell like, I've smelled soup in this travels I haven't smelled in a long time. It reminded me of my grandmother, as an example. Or you'll smell a flower that you haven't smelled since you were 5, and it might bring back that memory when you were in a park playing with your friends when you were like 4 or 5. So I feel that there's definitely a pathway there that most people have given up on or bypassed or have just forgotten about, where you're missing 99%, quite literally, if not more, of the potential you have to make changes for yourself. And I'm tying this into the flowers because everyone knows flowers do smell, most of them. People say some don't, but I found that to be in error. They just can't smell them. Personally, I can smell every flower I've ever put my nose to, like all of them, have some sort of smell when I used to think they didn't as well. So imagine what you could be missing, and not in just relation to the flowers, but in relation to the other pathways that you can grow or bloom into the love, because this, topic on this particular video is love. If you're missing 99% of some sort of information, light, ideas, potential, cymatics, energy, DNA, as Campbell mentioned, of course you can't fully understand love if you're not fully understanding yourself, right? Of course you can't fully get love if you can't fully give love. I mean, isn't love like you give all of yourself to love, right? You don't give 50%. You can't love your partner 32% and expect to have a good relationship or a good marriage. You can't love your kids 62.5% one day and 47.5% the other day because you're angry with them and expect you're going to have a good relationship. I mean, everyone who knows what's love, it's 100% of an action to get 100%, let's say, of a result, whatever that could be. So maybe we have to get 100% of ourselves working, in relation to what Campbell just mentioned, so that we can understand what 100% of love feels like, so that you can learn to be love and all the other things that could come with that. And, the cost maybe is giving up everything you believe, because maybe 99% of it, let's not say it's wrong because people hate to think they're wrong, but let's say it needs a good tuning.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was just thinking of the word tuning. Fine tune yourself. Because that's all it is, right? As you give love, it might not be coming back the way that you expect, or creating the things that you want or expect, but that's really just because your frequency is not quite tuned, right? Just need to fine tune it, and the more you do that, which is getting rid of the baggage, right? Letting stuff go, then the more direct your results will be.
Yeah, you have to tune yourself. I mean, Campbell showed millions of videos with cymatics and old buildings and churches and energy, and check the link below for the tuning forks as well. And it's all about energy. It's all about patterns. It's all about, sound and water and how they mix together. The old Tartarians, we've talked about, my interest in them is how they were different from us. And maybe they were just fully tuned, right? So they could be tuned into the universe. They could be tuned into the energy. They can be tuned into how to build. And it's not a matter of a technique or how did they do that, because we can't do that. Maybe it's more of they were, of a higher level vibrational, they had higher level of vibrational aspects, and that allowed them to create and build and be and to make the wonderful buildings that we've seen that people can't do now because they're not tuned in to the potential for creating something like that. And like your nose, maybe that tuning has nothing to do with your head or your thoughts, but has everything to do with your energy and how it's moving.
Yeah. We need to, talking last night, we need to fall, right? They tell us we've already fallen, but maybe what we need to do is fall, from our head to our heart, right?
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. And it's not anything anybody can't do. That's why I don't think you can wake up anybody because everyone's awake. That's why I don't think we're in a matrix, because everyone's alive. Everyone's a creator. There's some evil people acting not so nice, and there's some loving people acting more loving, and there's some people asleep, which basically just means they're just following habits given to them from someone else. But it doesn't mean they're asleep. It just means they're following another bunch of beliefs that aren't your beliefs, and maybe they're not willing or they don't know how to take a chance to go beyond those beliefs. And as Campbell said, maybe by being more loving with them or being vibration might just be a laugh. It might be offering them a piece of pie. I don't know, but maybe just by being different, as said, be the change you want. And it's not a matter of being a change in your head, like thinking you're different, because I've come across hundreds of people, and I was one of those hundreds of people that thought they were being different, but I really wasn't. I was just pretending to be different or acting a little different, but in my head, I was the same, or in my belief system, I was the same, or in my energy, I was still the same. I just changed my job or shoes or my polite way of being, but it really wasn't an inner change, which is what leads to the other change.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I was just going to say, like, the main thing I learned when I was away is just from watching people. You know, that's we learn the most from watching others, right? So, you know, be the change you want to see, right? Just get out there and yeah, learn to love yourself, learn to love others, and you know, I look at everyone as everyone's a student and everyone's a teacher. So no matter who the person is, no matter how annoying they are, they've always got something to teach you. So if you're there and that's your experience, well, you know, get the most out of it, right? Sometimes we end up in these places and we're like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. Well, you're there. So, you know, why not, you know, like they say, make the
But you're
best.
there, yeah.
See what you can learn, you know, watch people. Wow, why are they like that? Wow. And it doesn't always have to be, you know, what you want to become. Sometimes it's like, well, I can see how he's really annoying people. I'm going to not do what he does, right? Or she, or whatever it might be. So it all comes back to this. Look, it's all an adventure, right? It's all an adventure, and it's all for you. So you're here, you're experiencing it. So why not make the best of it? Learn, grow, and work towards being somewhere that you'd much rather be. You know, better experiences.
Yep. Yeah, hear what the world's telling you. I was shocked that one of the most watched lives Campbell and I ever did was our last one called Shut Up and Listen. I thought for sure it wouldn't get a lot of views because it was kind of a harder title, but it really was one of the most watched ones we've done. So I think we hit a bit of a potential there. You know, listen when you're in a bad situation, as Campbell said. If you find yourself somewhere you don't like, you know, be quiet, look around, you know, see the mirror, see the people, see what the world's trying to tell you for having put yourself there. And so instead of complaining or blaming or shaming or all the things that a lot of people do or wishing you weren't there, understand by listening why you ended up in that situation. And maybe you'll learn something that will help you, you know, grow into a more loving being by being somewhere you're not so happy.
Awesome.
To become
Nice.
more happy.
Yes. There you go.
All right.
Good place to end it. So there you go, guys. Be the change you want to see. Be the love you want to receive.
Yep. I love you all very much. And, you know, my wife asked me if I mean it when I say that. This was another thing that came up. She said, do you really mean when you say that? And I think I mean it the same way maybe God means it. God leaves us all alone to be who we need to be. We're born, we get freedom to be as bad or as good as we choose to be, no matter the challenges. So I feel saying you love everyone really means you're going to leave them alone to do what they need to do. Maybe you'll give some advice, as Kamala and I have in 150 videos or something like that. Or maybe we'll share our experiences that can help. But essentially, I trust that everyone can be fantastic if they so choose to do so. And that's what I mean when I say I love you all very much, because I think we can all be amazing as we choose to put in the efforts and pay the cost of whatever it is that we need to give up to become the better people we all wish and all would like to see in this lovely world.
Yes, there you go. Awesome, guys. You'll find links below. Go check them out, the flower essences, the tuning forks, and stay awesome. And we'll talk to you on the next upload. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Losing all control, no fear. The trumpets are blowing, Charger Bell is here. Love is all gonna set us free. Are you ready to fulfill your destiny? All rise from the depths within a revolution. People, come on, this is it now. Got this love in our heart through righteous feeling. What the fuck you gonna do? Stand up and know your part too hard. Open up and a piece of come now. This is it. Is this what we've been waiting for? Warrior, dream again. Your destiny. Uphold the will, not compromise. Nay, nay, nay. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all. We're going crazy. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all. Taking it higher, baby. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all. We're going crazy. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all. Taking it higher, baby. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us.